Back in episode 75, we talked about what happens when drivers leave Liquid Trucking. Today, we're talking about why they come back. Because not everyone leaves chasing greener grass. Sometimes life just makes the decision for you. Family needs you closer, health forces you to step away, priorities change. And sometimes, curiosity gets the best of you and you want to see what else is out there. But no matter the reason for leaving, stepping away gives you something you can't get any other way. And that, my friends, is capital P perspective. Perspective on how other companies operate, how they treat their drivers, what they promise, and what they actually deliver on. And sometimes that perspective leads you right back to where you started. Today, we're talking to 3 drivers who left Liquid Trucking and made the decision to return. Not out of convenience, out of clarity. Because sometimes you don't realize what you have until you've seen the alternative.
Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Liquid Trucking Podcast. Thank you so much for being here today. I am your host, Marcus, and unlike most of our episodes here recently, I am coming to you solo right now. Let me tell you about what's going on. My co-host, Amanda, actually was in the hospital for a little bit. She has a really bad migraine headache that's taken her off her feet here for a few days. Now, fortunately, we did get the interview that you're about to hear with the 3 guys from Liquid Trucking. We got that done before she fell ill. So she was here when we talked to Matthew, Eduardo, and Brian, who will join us shortly. So you will hear Amanda today, just not in the intro and the outro and the cold open, because we're trying to get her back to 100% so that she can join us as we continue. Every week we're hammering down on recording for Liquid Trucking. So we want her 100%. Here is our best wishes to her from the entire staff. Get well soon, Amanda. We can't wait for you to come back and join us back here on the LTP. So, what are we talking about today? Well, the cold open sort of gave you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain there. Back in episode 75, we had this awesome episode, which this was back when I was still writing the titles for the episodes, and this is some of my best work. This episode 75, was called If You Love Someone, Set Them Free. Now, I remind you, this is back when I was creating the titles for the episodes, because that was some of my best work, but there wasn't very much good work around that, okay? I'm not very good at titles. I could come up with a killer name for you. I'm really good at naming things. Like my dogs, Detective Elliot Stabler and Lieutenant Dan, people really like that. And when they find out that they're corgis and he's called Lieutenant Dan because he actually doesn't have any legs, they really just love it. I'm good with names, but titles, I don't know about titles, man. I've had some trouble with some episode titles, and I'm so glad that Keisha's helping me out now, because trust me, I was getting stale. I was like a saltine left out in the sun, man. It was dry and quite boring, and might even choke you up from time to time, and not in a good way. So anyway, I digress. Episode 75, we talked to some drivers that left and came back, and it's been a while now. I mean, what is that? 75 were at least 25, another 20. I mean, that's been 40-some episodes ago, so it's time. And thankfully, Liquid driver Matthew Stevens reached out to me, and he said, hey, I want to hear an episode about drivers that left and came back. Well, I told him, well, we already did one of those, but you weren't here when we did it, so we got to do another one. That's fine. Part 2, let's do it. And I was all about it. And Matthew's going to go home with some Drive for Gold points for suggesting the episode. So, again, podcast.liquidtrucking.com. Say that every single day. That's where you can find the email link. Just click there, and you'll be able to send me a message directly. If there's anything you want to hear, that's the way to go, and I will give you some Drive for Gold points for the suggestion if we can turn it into an episode. And we definitely did here. I've got 3 drivers joining me in just a minute, and actually, I need to clam the hell up right now, because this interview went long, and for good reason. Like, it wasn't bad that it went long. Sometimes when it goes long and you're just not sitting in my seat getting real excited about it, you know that it's probably, we're going to have to cut some of that down a little bit, save some time. I don't think that Mike's going to end up taking out much, if anything, of this next interview that you're about to hear. It was awesome, but it's almost an hour long, and there's a lot of insight from the guys. You get to hear their stories, why they left, why they came back. And if you're a prospective Liquid employee out there, you're thinking about giving Jake Debo a call to see what he's got to say and what he's got open, this is an episode you want to pay special attention to. So without further ado, let's bring our boys in here, Matthew, Eduardo, and Brian. Find out why the heck they left and how long it took them to come back. Welcome back into the Liquid Trucking Podcast. Amanda, I got to tell you, I'm very excited for this next, well, I say that every single time. It's no surprise that you guys that I'm excited to have these drivers here joining us to talk about what we're talking about, but I have a little bit of extra reserve excitement for this one because this is actually a part 2 of an episode that we did back on episode 75. You can find that in the feed. The episode is called If You Love Someone, Set Them Free. Now, that was back when I was coming up with episode titles. We now have a much better person taking care of that job, Amanda. But the theme of that episode was drivers that left Liquid and then came back to Liquid for one reason or another. And here just a couple months ago, one of the guys that's joining us today, Matthew Stevens, is a little bit newer with the company. He suggested, hey, I would like to hear an episode like that. We thought, why not do a round 2? We know we've got more guys that have gone through this at Liquid. And Amanda, it just kind of stands to reason. It shows how valuable the company treats their drivers here at Liquid to have this many people to select from for this topic. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, I can't wait for the info that we get. I have 2 different companies I've worked at 3 different times. So I want to compare our notes. I want to see, if we're all on the same page and have the same reasoning.
You're a better person than I am. Let's welcome in our drivers because they're giving us plenty of time today, and we appreciate them greatly for that. And I'm happy to report everybody that's taking part in today's recording is going home with Drive for Gold points. So let's welcome the guy that suggested the topic real quick, Matthew Stevens. He's a Liquid driver. Matthew, welcome to the show. Thanks for the suggestion, man. What was it about this topic that really got your interest peaked, my friend?
It was just listening to your podcast off and on, and I hadn't heard the first one that you had done yet. And I just thought it might be good for people to hear reasons why some drivers leave and why we come back.
Absolutely, man. And well put. Well, thank you for the suggestion. Welcome to the party. Let's introduce our other guys making their first ever appearances on the Liquid Trucking Podcast, which is also good for Drive for Gold points. Let's welcome in first Eduardo Alonso. Eduardo, welcome to the show, man. Happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Eduardo, we want to address something special with you real quick before we go any further. As a lot of the drivers that join this show, you're working right now, and we know that you might have to take a break here and fuel up sometime during the interview, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so we just want to put that out there so you guys know if Amanda or I throw Eduardo a question and the sounds of silence come back over the other end, that's because he's taking care of something more important. So just like to establish that first, Eduardo, really appreciate the time, man. Glad you're here. And finally joining us today, yes, sir, finally joining us today, we've got Liquid driver Brian Gilkey on the line. Brian, you're going home with 25,000 points today too, sir. Thanks for being here.
Not a problem.
Now, Brian, I'm actually going to start with you because we got to get a little bit of background from you guys real quick. How long was your first stint with Liquid, and now how far are you into the second stint with Liquid, Brian?
Let's see. I was here at Liquid for 9 months before I had to quit.
Okay, and what circumstances made you have to quit?
The easiest way to put it is when the pandemic happened, I got overpaid unemployment.
Uh-huh.
Well, that state came after me. And I was dealing with it with Liquid's permission. I was, doing everything on my end that I was supposed to do.
Uh-huh.
And one day out of the blue, I got a call from my attorney, said, hey, you got to turn yourself in on Friday because you're going on house arrest.
What?
And I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, wow. House arrest? And they're like, yeah. I said, why am I going on house arrest? And they were like, well, there's not an exact answer, but you're going on house arrest. So if you got anything you need to square up and take care of, do that today, because you literally are going on house arrest. And I'm like, how long is the term of house arrest? And they're like, we don't know. So
that
I got
doesn't
the
even
call.
sound legal. That's like, hey,
Right.
we're going to lock you in your house. Like, I mean, I know they did it to us during COVID and we all just rolled over and did it for them, but that sounds really just disorganized and I mean, bordering on like maybe outside the confines of the law, Brian.
You know, since this was a new thing to me, because I've never been in trouble, I was like, I'm just going to play along until they say I can go back to work.
Yep. Probably a
And
good
then
idea.
when I got released, when they told me, oh, you're good to go, you're free and clear, I called back and said, hey, is there any way I can get my job back? And the guys in the office were like, sure, you've never had any problems over here, so we'd love to have you back. So he was like, well, how long can you be? And I was like, I could actually come back to work today, but I got a couple of things I need to take care of back home. I'm at a motorcycle club, and two of my founders passed away within 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
So we had one funeral last week, and then the other founder's funeral, his funeral's tomorrow. So I was like, can I handle these funerals? And they were like, yeah, do that and let us know when you're ready. And I was like, well, I'll be ready that following Monday. They were like, that's fine. We'll see you Sunday. I'm like, okay, I'll see you Monday, because Sunday I'm just going to drive up from Kansas City, stay in a hotel, and then come into orientation Monday morning. That was my biggest thing. My biggest worry was like, man, am I going to have to do everything all over, even though I was here for a while? And they're like, well, we'll try to make it as painless as possible.
Yeah, we've heard that before. How painless was it?
It wasn't too bad. The only thing I didn't like was having to do that PCP again.
And tell me what that is.
It's like a physical agility test.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
They make you like do a bunch of squeezes, pulls, lifts, and stuff like that. And I'm like, why are we doing this? Because this has nothing to do with the job.
As long as they don't make you like do a mile and time you, and you got to do a certain number of sit-ups and pull-ups, like I'm good on that. Like yours sounds a little bit easier than what they made us do in high school.
Right. The whole turn your head and cough thing was something that I thought about all year after it happened until it happened again the next year. So I get that, Brian. I can understand the reticence there, but yeah, it seems like it was still pretty painless to get through.
Yeah, I mean, I woke up sore on Tuesday from all the exercises that I don't normally do or ever do. So
my favorite
part. Yeah. So after that, I mean, it was good.
Okay.
I just woke up sore, and I still remember why I was so sore, and I was like, what did I do? I've never been this sore.
Yeah.
And so I talked to a couple people I knew, and they were like, don't you remember doing that test yesterday? And I'm like, I didn't do any tests. And they were like, yeah, you said you had to go do like a physical agility. And I was like, that's why I'm sore.
Yeah,
I could barely move my legs Tuesday.
He got through it. He was waiting for his invite to join the Avengers, and it never came.
There you go. Now, one of you guys chimed in there when Brian was telling that story and said that PCP test was your favorite part. Which one of you guys was that? Be honest.
It was me, Eduardo.
It was Eduardo. Okay, so you really don't mind that part.
I really love that part.
Okay.
Really love it.
All right. Well, that's good. And hey, to each their own, right? That kind of goes to show you that I'm sure there's a part of the test, Eduardo, that you can't stand that Brian was probably like, that was easy. So I get it. Eduardo, let's go ahead and hear a little bit about your story, man. Why did you, first of all, how long were you here first? Why did you leave and why did you come back?
All right. So first time, it was in February of 2023 or January, starting the year on Liquid Trucking of 2023. And then worked there for a whole 2023 and leave by April of 2024. So kind of almost a year and a half. And then now the reason is because back then my little son, he was like 1 year old. So kind of want to spend more time with him at home. And then I have another 2 kids. So me and my wife, we got 3 kids, and she was kind of struggling with the 3 kids at home. And that was the main reason she needed me at home a little bit more with the kids, to help. And yeah, and then so I moved to here to where I live on Grand Island. and find a job to move in fuel. So start moving fuel. Like I did it for like 4 months. Into Bo, the safety guy, called me one day, and because before I left, I asked them if they got any local available positions for my area, and on that time they don't have anything, so I guess I have to wait. And then so I left, and he called me like 4 months later with a available position on my area. And I don't even think about it. I call me back because I really like this company.
Okay.
Like, the fuel, what I was doing, it was kind of right, but I was kind of more like, I really like liquid trucking, the way people are, the way they treat the drivers and all that stuff. And plus, I know everybody here too. So that was one of the main reasons why I coming back to liquid trucking, and they pay me better too.
Yeah, well, hey, that's reason A1, right? We know that for sure. We're all here to put food on the plate, man. But that's awesome. So you're a local driver, because you did tell me yesterday when we were chatting about trying to get this interview set up, you said you had 3 deliveries today. So you're doing local stuff and you're home every night, man. Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's how it works. That's why I told you how to make my time, because you told me on Friday 3 p.m. and I try to move today. I've been driving since 2 o'clock in the morning, literally to get done before 3, so that way I can just do the podcast at this time, Otherwise, I was going to be busy by this time. But I did it. I already done with my 3 loads, so.
Eduardo, you're awesome, man. Thank you so much. You didn't have to do that. I just assumed you tell me to F off and you're going to go work your normal day, man.
It's all right. I like to wake up early. I'm an active person, so I like to wake up early and start early, and then I like to get it done, like half of my job already at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Sounds like a guy that likes the PCP,
the working out stuff. I love that. And to be honest, when I did that, I was without working out for like a year and a half before that. So the next day, I barely can move. All my muscles were hurt, So I was like, it don't matter. But I did it. I lived all the way there, and, having fun.
Pain is weakness leaving the body, Pain is just that weakness going away, so.
Well, that's a great story.
You believe that, you're crazy.
That's what all my Marine Corps friends tell me, at least,
I've been working out literally my whole life since I was 15. So, and then I kind of quit working out and start trucking. But I really miss it, now I have no time because we work a lot of hours a day.
Sure.
But I have a lot of stuff in the basement in my house, and I keep, I like to keep my body in good shape. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Good for you. And I'm glad that you told that story, because much like Brian's story, what your story identifies for us here, Eduardo, is that sometimes these kind of variables in our lives, you never really know when they're going to show up. We've had an old driver for Liquid who doesn't work here anymore. His name's Tony Brown. He spent a lot of time coming on the podcast for us. And he actually, he left so that he could fight for his kids in court. He needed to be available to go and try to get custody of his kids and get them out of a bad situation. Eduardo, you needed to spend more time at home. Brian, you had kind of an out of left field issue that you had to deal with. And look, if everybody that got overpaid on unemployment went on house arrest, I would have also gone on house arrest. So I don't think that they should have done anything to you there, because they were giving away money during COVID, and God forbid we line up to get free money. I mean, that's just kind of a, it was an easy decision.
What actually really happened is the company I was working for, I was hauling cars, and the owner and all the members of the board forgave their paychecks. So as we were getting unemployment, they were giving us their portion of the money that they would normally make to help the drivers out, because they knew we weren't surviving like we were normally, because we were salary paid.
Mm-hmm.
So we weren't getting our normal salary. So what they were doing is they were randomly sending checks to help us, which was nice and everything. But in the end, they kind of messed it up, and, state said that I defrauded them out of money because I didn't claim that as income. Well, when you don't have any income and you got people at home to feed and take care of, you really don't worry about extra money coming in. You don't say, oh, well, I need to report this. You say, well, I only got this much money and I just got a check for this amount of money. So let me go on ahead and buy some groceries, pay some bills, do everything that I need to do to take care of my family. You don't think about that type of stuff.
Well, and who thinks that
it just had to bite me in the ass?
Yeah, man, and that's really unfortunate because if that was the case, that your employer was doing that out of the kindness of their hearts and actually taking money out of their own pockets and just sending it to you when they could and sending it to other employees when they could, I don't know, man. That doesn't sound as much like income as that sounds like a gift to me. And you kind of can give money away up to a certain point, tax-free in this country. So that just seems like kind of a gray area that they wanted to make an example out of. I can't be for sure, but sounds a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's like okay, I worked for another company, and every time they would give us these Visa gift cards. Well, the state of Nebraska came back to them and told them they can't do that anymore. And I mean, that was like an extra, we were getting like an extra few grand a year with these gift cards because they would give them like once a month and we'd get them every quarter. We got them at Driver's Appreciation. We got them for Christmas. And then all of a sudden they were like, hey, we're sorry. We can't send the gift cards like we normally used to because the state is telling us that we can't do that anymore because that's considered work fraud or something like that. And I was like, wow. They're getting really strict about giving money away.
Taking care of your employees is fraudulent these days. That's that's what I'll take away from that, man. Well, thanks for the extra info there, Brian. That's an interesting situation, dude. And I'm sorry that you had to go through it, but at the same time, I'm glad your job was waiting for you when you came back, man. And things are good now, I assume.
Yeah, it's my first week back. And since I started here, I haven't had any complaints, as far as like the workload or anything like that or any places I go. The only problems I've ever had was stuff that was out of my control and out of the company's control.
Sure.
So it wasn't really anything to complain about. I mean, it just happened. So, there was nothing anybody was prepared for in the situation.
Right. Well, let's get to Matthew here. Matthew, you've been super patient as the guy that suggested this this topic that we're on right now, and I want to hear about your story, man. How long did you work for Liquid before you left, and why'd you come back?
Well, I was at Liquid for 7-8 months in 2022, and my wife and I had some issues, and I had some anxiety and stuff going on, and my neighbor has a trucking company, and my wife said that I should go. If I want to drive a truck, I need to go drive for him. So that's what we ended up doing. And so I drove for him for 2.5, almost 3 years. Basically kind of the same schedule, but I was running paper logs, so I could get home earlier if I ran a little bit illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, of course, it was a 1099 employment, so no insurance, no taxes coming out. My wife lost her job in March last year, 25. And so there went our insurance because I was on her insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started kind of talking to him like, hey, I'd really like to go back to Liquid Trucking. I love them. They're a great while I was there. I've kind of stayed in contact on the Facebook page with a few of the people. And she finally said, you know what? I think it'd be better if you go back there. They'll take taxes out. You'll probably make the same, if not more, than what you're making. Plus, you'll be able to have your own insurance, and we'll save money that way.
Mm-hmm.
So in November, right before Thanksgiving, I messaged on Messenger, and they said, come on back. And I said, well, give me 2 weeks. I'm going to give these guys 2 weeks notice. I went over and talked to my neighbor about it, and they looked at me and said, well, go ahead and clean your truck out.
That's simple.
I said, done deal. Don't hurt my feelings, son.
At least you tried to do the right thing and give the 2 weeks, like you tried.
Yeah. When I left Liquid Trucking, I gave them 2 weeks notice and everything, and they're great with it and everything, and even helped me get some counseling for myself and everything. So now I'm in mentally and physically and health wise, I'm in a much better position than I was before, but when I left the first time. So, and when I came back, I mean, it was the people that I knew in the office that had been there beforehand, they all recognized me and remembered me. And I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that's a pretty common thread that we hear here on this podcast, man. And starting out at the very beginning when drivers first call the company and they talk to Jake Debo, our guy, I feel like they are immediately starting to fall in love with the entire staff from Jake on through the rest of the guys they're going to meet. When they get into orientation with Bo and Cole, they're signing paperwork with Jason. They're out hanging out in the shop with any of those guys. You guys all just, it seems like a very common thread that it's a very warm, welcoming environment. And I totally understand why after you leave that environment, you might long for it a little bit once you're not in it anymore, Matt.
Exactly. I mean, and there's 2 other guys in my class that when I came back, when we went through back in the week before Thanksgiving, and who came up and talked to me like we hadn't missed a beat with each other.
That's awesome.
Cole and I think his name is Mike. I think he retired now. The older gentleman that was in safety. Mm-hmm. He remembered me, and the 2 guys I was with, they thought that was awesome.
That's cool.
And it just sold them even more on being with Liquid. And I've talked to those 2 guys a few times since we've come back out, and they're both still here. They're both still loving it.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. Amanda, I have a similar experience actually. When I got this job, I was selling cars, and I would have like a good week, and then I would have like 2 bad weeks because I hated it. And I was working for one of those guys that's your stereotypical used car salesman, doesn't care how many families he ruins financially, get the deal done and get the car out. And that just doesn't vibe with my personality. If you buy a car from me, I want you to go home with a reliable vehicle, be safe, and it was a fair price. I had a real big issue with that, and I didn't get to deal with the GM much, but he had been a fan of my old radio show. And I walked into him the day that our boss here called me and said, I can hire you. Hey, go put in your 2 weeks. I walked into his office 5 minutes after I got off the phone, and I said, I got to put in my 2 weeks, Gary. And he looked at me dead in the eyes and he said, you don't really want to be here. And I said, I really don't. And he goes, do you have any deals working? And I said, not now. And he goes, man, it's been a pleasure. You've been awesome, but get out of here. Go do what you want to do. And in that scenario, I was so happy. And I wonder, Matt, if maybe you were kind of happy that, yeah, you did the professional courtesy of giving the 2 week notice to your old employer, but he kind of took that off your table and let you go back to Liquid. Were you happy when he said clean out your truck?
Oh, I was ecstatic because I had told him I was going to give a 2 week notice. I told Jay, I'm going to give these guys a 2 week notice. I talked to my neighbor, my old boss on a Saturday morning. They say clean out the truck. I called Jake on a Saturday. I felt terrible about calling Jake on a Saturday and said, hey, they told me to clean out my truck. Can I start on Monday? And he says, well, maybe not on Monday, but we'll get you in the following week.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. So you're just like me. I danced out of that dealership. Like I was walking on air, man. I was so happy to go back to some place or to some place. I knew I was going to enjoy the work. I was going to take pride in it. It was going to be something that I really like to do. And that's part of why we have you guys here today. And I want to ask you guys kind of a specific question. And maybe it'll apply to you and maybe it won't. But Matt, since we've got you here, I'll start with you. What are some things that you didn't realize that Liquid did so right before you left and worked for somebody else?
Everybody's treated like family here. I mean, you can walk into the trailer shop, you can walk into the wash bay, you can go into the truck shop, you can walk into the new main building down there, and everybody just treats you like you're one of them. nobody looks down at you because you're the truck driver of the company.
Or the podcast
Everybody, right? Everybody treats you with respect. Everybody is there to help each other. We all got a job to do.
Yep.
And everybody is there to help you. I mean, not everything goes perfect every single day. I mean, I had a trailer that was supposed to be washed and ready for me in Waxahachie this week, and they hadn't touched it yet.
So just like every other job, there's some ups and downs, and that's just the nature of the game, right?
Exactly.
Sure. Eduardo, let's go to you, man.
Yep.
Was there anything, your situation was a little bit different, but you did work for somebody else hauling fuel while you were away from Liquid. Was there anything that you realized when you were driving for that other company that, man, Liquid does this so right, and I didn't realize it until I wasn't with them anymore?
Yeah. There's one thing. When I start on the other company, the same exactly thing. What's the guy was talking right now? What's his name?
That's Matthew.
Matthew. The same thing he say. The company that I start after Liquid Trucking, I was working there for 4 months, like I say, and then, I don't feel like the tree was the same as Liquid Trucking. Like Liquid Trucking, I like the mode of everybody there. Like I say, we go into a truck shop, everybody's nice there. Even on the new building, wash bay, everybody's cool. They don't looking at you like down, like I'm the manager, you the driver. You know what I mean? Everybody's even, and that's a right attitude. That's what I like, man. I like to be on places like that.
Sure.
And I don't see down on the other job. The other job, it was couple things from the managers and stuff. I just don't feel comfortable working for them. And Bo called me to start back, and a week before I was gonna make the decision, but just for coincidence, he just called me and said, "Hey, there's a local position. Do you want to call me back?" He trusts on me because I'm a good driver. I like the right things always, and but I was like a week just to call him to call me back. Honestly,
Yeah.
Because I just start there, and after 4 months, I feel bad at the same time because I was like, I just start here, and I don't like to leave places like that and jumping from job to job.
Right.
But I was about to make that decision in a week, and they both called me and said, I was so happy when he called me, and I was like back on 2024, April 2024, and I'm still here.
That's awesome.
I like it.
Man, timing's everything, isn't it? Isn't it, Amanda, have you ever had that happen where you're about to make a decision that's going to affect a lot of life and then something falls out of the sky? Because it's kind of where I was with selling cars. Like I said I was selling cars for the 3 weeks before I got this job. I was looking for work while trying to sell cars.
Sure.
So I've never, this kind of fell right out of heaven into my lap before I jumped into some pretty unnavigable waters.
Oh my gosh.
You ever had something like that happen? Just great timing, Amanda?
I mean, with you guys, for sure. I had fallen into something that, I'm not lying and I'm not exaggerating, you guys, and I'm a tough lady, okay? I would cry at the end of my workday every single day. And then you guys called me after I hadn't talked to y'all in like a couple months. And it literally was like that point of, oh my God, I'm going to burn this place down probably. So you all probably saved a lot of lives, but yeah.
At least we saved you an arson charge. That's for sure, right?
It was perfect timing. So good job.
That's great. That's great. Well, Eduardo, that's awesome, man. And thanks for telling us that. I'm super happy that the timing worked out. And the reason I asked this question to all of you, and Brian, we'll get to your answer here in just a second, but it's because I feel like sometimes you can't tell that the grass really isn't greener until you're standing in it. And then you start to realize all of the things that, like, man, it was like, maybe I didn't appreciate the fact that when I showed up in the morning, 5 people said hi to me and know my name. But that's actually a really nice thing. I really like going to a place like that, right? And I get that. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? It's hard to see the forest for the trees sometimes. And, I could throw out 50 more cliches that say the exact same thing. So it's obviously something that we all deal with as humans. Brian, what was something that you didn't realize Liquid was doing so right before you were gone someplace else, man?
Well, of course, my situation was a little bit different than the others because I wasn't able to work.
That's true.
But I had put in some applications for some other places when I found out that they were changing my whole house arrest stuff and dropping that. And just like, hey, you just got to periodically report in. So I put in some applications, and other companies, they were like, nah, we don't want to deal with that because we possibly can't get you where you need to be if you got to be somewhere of importance. So we're not going to touch that. So when I didn't reach out to them. I think Cole texted me like, hey, how you been? Is everything okay? And I was like, hey, good to hear from you. How do I come back? And he was like, oh, just, update your application and we'll go from there. And then, like I said, this is my first week back. And, since I wasn't able to work and didn't know when I was coming back to work, I had deleted a bunch of people's numbers out of my phone. So I've been getting random text messages all week like, hey, glad to see you're back. And it's just like, I've never really had this type of work environment where, I got along with everybody I work with.
Sure.
Yeah.
Other places that I've worked, they could care less about who you are. You were just a truck number. You weren't an actual person. Nobody really knew your name. They just knew me. It was like, hey, that's that big tall guy.
You could send a bunch of new phone who dis texts.
Well, that's kind of, new phone who dis text that he's getting now, but he also got a you up text from Cole. Like, that's what that sounds like. You hadn't heard from him for a while, and that one came through at 3 a.m, right?
It wasn't that early, but, me and Cole, we're friends on Facebook and everything like that because, we have same hobbies that we enjoy motorcycle riding and stuff like that. So, he'll shoot me a question about my bike, or I'll shoot him a picture of my bike, or like what I've done, what rides I've been doing, how much I've been riding, how long I haven't been able to ride, whatever. And that's how, our friendship kind of started when I first started here last year in February. It was one of those guys who, he rolled up on his motorcycle and we got to talking, and, that's kind of how I got close with Cole versus, other people.
Sure.
And the guy that I trained with out of Kansas City, me and him kept in touch.
Okay. Very cool. Well,
even though I wasn't working, he would phone check on me like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, man, it's rough. And he's like, I get it. I understand.
How did you keep yourself occupied when you were on house arrest, Brian?
I played a lot of video games.
My guy. I knew you were going to say that. I just had to make sure it got on the record. That's where you'd find me. I mean, if I had that many hours to kill and couldn't travel freely, man, if I didn't have a golf course at my house, you would find me tethered to the Xbox all day, every day.
As far as I could go was to the end of my driveway.
Wow.
That's as far as I could go. And that's as far as I could go without, I got to get close to the house.
I got to know, what's the game of choice? Is it Call of Duty?
I played Mind's Eye. I play a lot of GTA online. I have 2 PlayStation 5s. I keep one in the truck and one at home.
Okay.
So I never was out my console whenever I have free time or down.
Okay. All right. I like it, man. So I'm happy to hear GTA Online because we've actually had some other Liquid drivers that are definitely listening to this podcast right now. I know one of them is Michael Donut Duncan. Those guys have made over $1 billion in GTA Online. I'm happy to report that I just started playing it earlier last month. I've already purchased all my motorcycle businesses. I've got my mansion. I've got my bunker. I've got my my hangar. Man, I'm doing good, but I'm nowhere near $1 billion. Did you become a billionaire when you were on house arrest in GTA Online by chance?
I didn't become a billionaire, but I became a multi-millionaire.
Okay.
Like right now, I think my account was sitting at like 37 million because I spent money. I have a car collection on GTA Online that's ridiculous. Stuff that I would never have in real life.
It
was like, man.
It's so much fun though. That's where I thought I was gonna get all this money. I was gonna be able to call the other guys and be like, "Hey, I'm a billionaire too." No, I can't stop buying cars. I've got $3 million in my account right now. Can't stop buying cars. That's all it is, man.
all my garages are full in the game. Like every single where you can store cars is full.
And they break it off on you too for a garage. It's like $2 million to store 10 more cars, and then the cars are like $1 million a piece too. It's a money suck, but we'll talk more about GTA Online again on this podcast now that I know we've got more people out there running their criminal enterprises online, man. That's awesome. I'm glad that you had something like that to keep you occupied, though, because if you don't have a game like that you can sit down and sink 4 hours into without thinking about it, your house arrest is going to be one boring stretch, man.
Yeah, I did a lot of video gaming, and, my wife works from home, so it's like, I guess I'll make breakfast.
There you go.
Right.
Go in and annoy her every now and then.
What are you doing now?
We got a package that came in from Amazon.
Yeah, imagine that, right?
And I would have to literally tell her, hey, you're at work. Stop calling me. Don't text me. I'm busy. You're busy at work. I'm busy playing video games.
Hey, she likes
and she's
you.
like,
It's
wow,
all right.
what a life.
Hey, I'm tethered to this house, so you let me live here as I will, okay? That's great. Well, listen, Brian, I'm going to have you sit this next one out here because I'm going to do a little rapid-fire expectation versus reality, and since you didn't work for another company while you were out, is just going to kind of miss you here. But Eduardo and Matthew, are you guys willing to play a little rapid-fire? The idea here is, at your last company, was it better or worse in terms of X? And I'll give you the thing, and you tell me whether it was better or worse. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Go ahead.
Okay. Eduardo, we'll start with you. At your last company, was it better or worse in terms of dispatch communication?
The worse.
Worse. Matthew?
Way worse. Yeah.
Worse.
Worse. Got it. I kind of know where this one's going, Eduardo, but I'm going to say it anyway. Better or worse in terms of respect for you as an employee?
I can't say worse, and then I can't say better either. It was all right.
Okay, so it was a wash.
Respect is always, yeah. I respect everybody, so that way everybody respect me the same way. I don't have any issue on that part.
That's a good way to do it, man, for sure. Matthew, in terms of respect as an employee, better or worse at your last company?
I want to say it's probably a wash. The same. I'm friends with the guys I went and drove for, and we're still friends today. So, I mean, I still have respect for them. They respect me and all the decisions we've all made since then.
Okay, that's good, though. I listen, if you can go to work for a place that respects you, even if the work is something that you don't like, at least you have your employer's respect. And that's a big point. That's a big part of going to work every day. Eduardo, at your last company, was it better or worse in terms of equipment condition?
Even they have pretty good equipment in there on Bozeman.
That's good. That's good, man. I'm glad to hear that. It's not the same everywhere.
The and everything was fine.
Okay. How about you, Matt? Better or worse in terms of equipment?
Way worse.
didn't have as nice of trucks and trailers as what Liquid's got, huh?
No, we ran older equipment that was ELD exempt. So when I came back to Liquid Trucking, having all the gauges and buttons on the dash actually work and do what they're supposed to was kind of a shock to some how to get used to.
Yeah, them having some standards, you know?
Right. Well, hey, Liquid runs a tight ship out there when it comes to the equipment, so I get it, man. How about this? Pay transparency. Eduardo, did you feel like your last company was pretty honest with you as far as the pay? You could kind of count on it each week?
Not really.
Not really.
I have an issue. By the time I left, I have an issue with them, with the uniforms. They say if you last 3 months, if you last more than 3 months, all the uniforms, because we have to wear uniforms in there, and it's free. It's on our company, okay? So by the time I left, they kind of don't like it. They discount $450 on my last paycheck for the uniform. I never complain. I just want to. I never complain about it. So.
That's petty, though. That's petty. $50. I mean, come on, right?
They got me in there.
Yeah.
They got me in there. I don't worry about it. You know, on that time I was like, it's okay.
Yeah, you seem like a pretty laid back guy, so $50 isn't too big of a chunk of your day, is it?
I mean, $450 is $450 for anybody, you know.
Yeah. Oh, you said 450. You know, I thought you just said 50. Okay. Wow. Now you got my interest peaked.
450. Yeah, I say $450.
Were you wearing a Nebraska Cornhuskers full football uniform? What kind of uniform costs $450?
No. It was the uniform for when we work in the field, you gotta wear that long sleeve hoodie, which is to not get on fire. In case
sure.
you gotta.
I forgot about like the fire resistant stuff. Yeah.
Fire resistant. Yeah, those clothes. Yeah, you'll be surprised how much it costs. It's pretty expensive. Wow.
Sure.
So, yeah, they told me 3 months. So, and I wasn't even thinking about that when I left. I told them I was gonna leave in 3 weeks. So I give them 3 weeks notice. 3 weeks, and still, I was like, I was waiting for this amount of money on my check, and when I see the deposit, I was like, wait a minute, something's missing here. So I checked $450 of uniform. So all right.
Oh, wow.
You can keep it. It's all right.
Boy, you are. Yeah, man, you're a better person than me. I would have called that GM, or I would have told him to kiss my ass just like I did the old ones.
I'm over here thinking like we need to get Eduardo a lawyer, and maybe he can share it with Brian. I don't know.
I'm more like a peace. I like more peace.
Yes.
I'm not. I don't want to argument with Dan and all that. No, not for $150.
Yeah. I hear you.
I prefer my. I'm not that type of person.
Yeah, I could learn something from you.
If it was 4,000, I maybe argue about it, but for 450, it was all right.
Again, you're a better guy than me. You would not want to see the fuss I can raise over $50.
Yeah.
I'll be showing up with my gas can.
And at the same time, I was so happy to start with Liquid Trucking again as a local driver that I was like,
didn't matter.
There's nothing better right now. So that 450 doesn't even bother me. So
sure, it's just a wash. Okay. Well, Matthew, how about you, man? Pay transparency at your last company, was it better or worse than it is now?
Worse. I was on percentage at the last place, so
okay.
It just I didn't know what I was making from load to load until I got paid the following week.
Copy. All right, just a couple, actually only one more for you here. Eduardo, at your last company, was it better or worse in terms of your stress level on the daily?
It was worse on stress, way worse.
Stressing out a lot more.
You have to learn a lot of computer numbers and all that, and I learned all that stuff, but I'm more like, I'm not, I heard all you guys talking about video games. And I was like, no, I'm not good on that. On computers and all that, I'm not really familiar with all that. I'm more like from outside, Instead of, for me, for example, instead of play PlayStation, I going out and I load my jar and I invent something outside the house, like I'm more like from the outside.
Sure.
Not from the inside. So
that kind of provided some stress for you, having to learn all that stuff. Yeah, I get that, man. I get that totally.
I kind of don't like that much numbers in the computer, and that you have to send the same thing the says in the bill lady on the papers. You have to write it down again to send it to the dispatch when he already see it in the paper, and it was a lot.
Sure.
It was a lot, and the job it was a little bit more harder too.
Yeah,
it was a little bit more harder, and the pay wasn't that good for that much work,
I hear you. That's all great.
But it was the only choice. It was a best choice I'd find to get out of the road and keep myself local. But and it was one of the best ones on my area here. After Liquid Trucking let me know to come back, I was like, no, I'm coming back.
Yeah, one of the best ones after Liquid Trucking. That's the key point there for sure. All right, Matthew.
Yeah, Liquid Trucking was on the road, it was on the road, which is good. When I quit, the only reason why it was because I want to be more home with my kids, help my wife, but it wasn't, I don't have nothing to complain on this company. I love this company. I like this company. The way they work and everything, I love it.
That's awesome. Matthew, let's talk stress level. At your last company, was it better or worse? Now, because this is a big one for you, because I know that probably stress is something that actually caused you to leave this job in the first place. So talk to me a little bit about where your mind goes when I ask you that question.
Well, I feel it was worse where I was at. I get so much more sleep here. At the other place, I mean, I load out Omaha, deliver in Chicago or late at night, or load out Omaha late at night, go to Chicago, unload in the morning, reload, head back towards the Omaha area. And I sleep more in the first couple of days out in a week with liquid trucking than I did an entire week there.
Wow. So your stress level just in terms of being a well-rested driver is 100% better.
Exactly. Like I said, when I was we did that last podcast with about the sleep. Yep. I mean, there's times that I loaded in Georgia on a Friday afternoon. If I wanted to spend the weekend home, I drove straight through.
Wow. That's crazy, man. Well, listen, fellas, this has been a really good part 2 of this episode. I think we've gotten some great information here. Now, I am going to pull a fast one on these guys, Amanda, because you know me, I love to do a final thoughts segment, and I love to let you guys say whatever you want. But for this one, I want it to be just a little bit directed. I'm going to ask you guys instead to talk to the driver that's listening to this right now that is, maybe they've seen some advertisements out there, maybe they've got another trucking company that's flirting with them and trying to pull them away from liquid. I want you guys to speak from your experience, and Brian, I know that yours is a little bit different than Eduardo's and Matthew's, but speak from your experience to that guy that's thinking about leaving liquid right now to check and see if the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Eduardo, I want to start with you. What would you say to a driver that's thinking about leaving liquid right now based on the experience that you had?
Only thing I say is think about it. You know, you got to think it goes. A lot of drivers, I know for a fact, I know people that quit from this company, from Liquid Trucking, and like I said, they're always coming back because they try to find, they try to look into the small things that we have. Any company have things that you're not gonna like, or something, but any company is perfect.
Right.
Every company has. You're not gonna like at least something on every company, but I try to explain it to them the whole time. You better think about it before you make the decision and then they're ended up quitting and going to another company, and there we go, 5 months later coming back.
And do you, let me ask you, Eduardo, do you meet them with an I told you so?
Yes.
Good for you, man.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you have to be here for a while, and, by the time you're gonna quit, you gotta have a reason, Like I have a reason back on that time. I have a reason to leave. Mm-hmm. My son, my family, that is first of my job. My family first anywhere. But like I say, I'm not leaving for anything that I don't like of the company. That's why I like to tell the drivers that thinking about quitting, think about it good, because you will call me back. I'm pretty sure. I'm 85% sure. Of everybody, most of the people leave Liquid Trucking, they're coming back. Everybody knows that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, this is part 2 of this very episode, so we obviously got plenty to talk about in this realm. Brian Gilkey, we're going to go to you next, man. It's a different experience that you had, but let's say you're talking to a driver that's thinking about quitting right now. Based on your experience with Liquid Trucking, Brian, what are you going to tell that driver?
I'm going to ask them basically, what issues are you having with the company that makes you want to leave? And then when they can give me a valid reason, they got family issues or something like that, you can't condone somebody for wanting better for them and their family. But at the end of the day, when it comes to work, you kind of have a dedicated work schedule. If you're regional, if you're local, or if you're over the road, you kind of know what you're doing all the time. Mm-hmm. And you don't get that transparency at a lot of companies. They will tell you, oh, yeah, well, you're only going to work this amount of time and this many days a week and this many days. And then you get there and then you find out this is nothing what we discussed on the phone
at all. Bait and switch.
And, like you said, when it comes to the pay, you know what you're going to get paid. You know how you're going to get paid. You know why you're getting paid. There's no questions about it now. Other companies that I've worked for, they say you're going to get paid for this. And then, you turn in everything that you need to turn in as far as your documentation. And they say, oh, well, you know what? We changed the pay policy.
Yep.
We don't do that anymore. Or we don't pay for that anymore. And it's just like, it's frustrating because it's like, why can't you just be a person of your word, like you said? And over here, I don't have those issues or those problems. You know, there have been times that something may have not got put on my check and I've talked to payroll and they say, oh, we got you covered. We got that taken care of. You no longer have to worry about that specific issue. You know, there was, you know, I had to switch a bank account one time when I was here in Liquid because my account got hacked for fraud. Mm-hmm. So I had to call payroll and be like, hey, I know tomorrow's payroll, but is there any way I can switch my direct deposit because that account is no longer open because of fraud? And they were like, sure, no problem. Just give me the new account number and I'll update it right now and make sure you get your pay.
That's huge.
So like, there's no issue over here like that I experienced in all my years of driving at other companies.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. I love to hear it, and thank you for that, because I think that's a very cool way to go about it, is like ask the person that's talking about quitting what it is that's making them feel that way right now, because it sounds like from your experience, Brian, that could just be a conversation away from a fix altogether, and you don't have that problem anymore.
Right. Because when I started, it was three of us in orientation, and of course, you know, by the time I ended up leaving, I was the only one left. And one guy, you know, I asked him, why are you leaving? And he was like, well, I need more pay. And I'm like, what are you not doing to get paid? And he's like, oh, they rush me. And I'm like, I don't see how that is, because you have the exact same dispatch as I do, and he's laid back. He doesn't never rush me.
Yeah.
Even when, you know, the pump went out on my truck, he didn't call me and be like, hey, why are you still at the customer, you know, 12 hours later?
Sure.
You know, he's just like, is everything okay? You need anything? And I'm like, man, I think I'm having a mechanical issue. And he's like, let me transfer you to the shop so we can get that issue taken care of. Well, of course, you know, we couldn't get it taken care of because it so happened to happen on like a Friday in Ohio. So they were like, you know what, just take that load to TAC in Illinois and bring the truck back here and we'll fix it. So I dropped the truck off for the weekend. They gave me a vehicle to drive home because I wasn't going to where I normally park my truck. Mm-hmm. And they were like, we'll just come back up on Monday. So when I came back Monday, they were like, yeah, your pump went out. I'm like, okay. And they're like, you're good to go. We fixed it on Saturday. All right. Thanks.
Sweet.
What do I need to do now?
Get in
Go
and
back
drive.
to work.
Yeah,
right.
Then I get in and I find all this plastic and seat covers and everything like that. I'm like, what's that for? They're like, your truck is like extremely clean, so we just put all that stuff down so we didn't get your truck dirty.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, other companies never did that. They just walk, you know. Like, I don't wear my shoes in the sleeper. Like, once I get in the driver's seat, when I'm done for the day, my shoes come off at the steering wheel, and I walk barefoot in my truck.
That's a whole...
Yo, he was like, hey, I just want to make sure your truck stays clean.
That's a whole episode idea right there. Cleanliness. Truck cleanliness.
Absolutely. We can definitely do that. Well, Brian, that's awesome, man. Thank you for that, because I think you just gave us some insight into why drivers stick around at Liquid rather than why they leave. Accommodations, communication, these things aren't hard to do. They're hard to do effectively sometimes if you don't care about them. And what I see as a common theme with Liquid is they care about them, and that's why so many drivers come back. Is you get someplace else and you go, oh man, they don't give a crap about this, and I thought that they did, and it was kind of a bait and switch. It happens a lot, you guys. We're working in a really high turnover industry, and there are stories about getting bait and switched or expectations not being met or not even being close to being met are a dime a dozen in this industry, and it's nice to hear that this company that we're all working for right now doesn't fall victim to that very often. So great stuff there from you, Brian. Matthew, I'm coming to you last to wrap it up, man. You're talking to a truck driver for Liquid that's thinking about quitting. What's your advice for him?
Well, just like Brian said, ask him what the reason is. What if there's a valid reason? Cool. If not, I mean, call your dispatcher and talk to him. He's gonna, if he doesn't have an answer for you, he's gonna get you the answer and transfer you to the correct person to talk to. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I love here. If you got a problem, you call dispatch, and they're going to send you wherever you need to. It's not like I've been driving since the late '90s, and any other big company you've been with, you got a list of phone numbers you have to keep in your phone or on your dash, and you got to call a different person for every different problem that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Here, call your dispatcher, and they take it from there. If they can't get you the answer, they take you to the person who can.
One part dispatcher, one part phone tree.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, man.
I feel bad for calling a dispatcher every now and then.
Don't. That's what they're there for. In fact, I can tell you this. We rarely get to talk to dispatchers on this show because they need to be sitting there waiting for you guys to call them. And that's what I've been told. And that's how you run a tight ship, right? You have those phones manned so that when you guys call, when there's an issue, there's somebody there ready to help you. That's all part of running a well-oiled machine, right?
Yep.
Awesome, fellas. Well, listen, I kept you here for almost an hour today because I was having so much fun just listening to your guys' experience and hearing about the reasons that you came back and the reasons that you want to stay now. So I have to say, Matthew Stevens, thank you so much for suggesting this. Drivers out there, Liquid drivers, don't forget, we're giving away Drive for Gold points. If you suggest an episode and we turn it into an episode, all you got to do is head over to podcast.liquidtrucking.com. There's a link there. You can click it, send me an email. That's what Matt did. Eduardo Alonso and Brian Gilkey, you guys did awesome for your first time on the podcast. I would love to have you back on the show anytime you like. Gentlemen, thank you so much today. This has been awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Not
sir.
a problem. Appreciate it.
You guys be safe out there, okay?
Yes,
Will
sir.
do.
Thank you.
Wow. Great stuff there from Matthew, Eduardo, and Brian. Hats off to those guys. Thank you for the time. And I took a lot of it, y'all. That was a long interview. We don't typically see 57 minutes on the clock when we hang up with somebody. So that was awesome. And look, we won't take the interviews that long if they're not just so finger-licking good, and that one was. So here's the moral of the story as we wrap up today's episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast. Liquid drivers sometimes are going to leave because life throws a haymaker, right? Like sometimes you leave because there's health issues or there's problems in the family. You need to be home more. Look, there's any number of reasons that a driver might leave because of life. But you also might leave because some, fast-talking recruiter promised you paradise and you didn't actually realize that guy operates out of a bog. Usually right about the time your sleep starts to disappear or your paycheck gets confusing, you realize nobody knows your first name. They just keep calling you 2724. That is when it really slaps you across the face with how good it actually can be. That's when you remember what good actually looks like, right? It's not perfect. It's not magical. It's just solid, honest, human people being good, okay? So if you're listening right now and you don't work for Liquid and you've got one foot out the door, do yourself a favor. Don't fall in love with a recruiter's voice. Although the dulcet tones of Jake Debo telling me about how good the job is would definitely cause me to feel some things. I'm not saying he doesn't have an awesome voice. And by all means, you can fall in love with Jake. He's the only one, though. You can't fall in love with the rest of them. Those are my rules. It's my podcast. I get to make them. But don't fall in love with the recruiter's voice. Fall in love with the reality of the job. And you might have to sit in the seat before you can actually gain some perspective on what the reality of the job is. Listen, the grass isn't always greener on the other side of the fence. The grass is greener where they actually give a damn. And boy, they give a lot of them here at Liquid Trucking. That's going to do it for this episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast. Appreciate you guys being here. Send in our good thoughts to Amanda. She'll be back with us hopefully next week as she gets back into good health. And that's all I've got for you guys today. Don't forget to head on over to podcast.liquidtrucking.com. This episode was suggested by Matthew Stevens, and you can suggest episodes as well and take home some Drive for Gold points for your effort. Plus, we'll also hook you up with some Drive for Gold points if you come on the podcast for your very first time, like Brian and Eduardo did today. Thanks to everybody who took part in this episode and making it happen. I'm out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Stay safe out there, Liquid drivers, and keep the shiny side up.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.
Interested in finding out more about what it takes to bring a podcast like the Liquid Trucking Podcast to your fleet? Bulldog provides tailor-made top-to-bottom podcast production services. We'll meet your terminal staff, connect with your drivers, and bring you the content you want your drivers to hear. Type bulldog.works into your browser to connect with us and learn more about what we can do for your fleet. That's bulldog.works for podcasts, tenacious recruiting, and more.